Hello everybody, welcome back. Bradley here. Today what I want to talk about is adding some textures and some different designs and some different patterns inside of the paint job to kind of give it a little bit more character, I guess you could call it, for the bodies. I think a lot of times you can take a very simple paint job, whether it be 1, 2, 3 colors, and add either some of these textures or something simpler to put in the paint to give it a little bit more character with doing the body. So what I'll show you today, and there's several of them out there that you can do. A lot of people like the hexes. I do a bunch with the dots that you can hide in the different colors. And I'll kind of show you as we go through today how I do that. Out there that's available also, I have not used these yet. I've had them for a while, but I know a lot of people do use them and they're kind of pretty cool and they get them put on the paint jobs. Biddy Design makes them. It's a cardstock, I guess you'd call it. It is an acid film, so if you get paint on it, it's made to be painted on, obviously, but you can wipe it off and rinse it off and reuse this multiple times over and over. So they've got all different types of patterns. I think I've seen probably 8 or 10 or maybe even 12 different designs that they've got out. So I have not used these. I use a different type of material that I'll show you. Probably some of the good things that I would like about these is they are kind of thin and flexible. And they are washable, so you can reuse them. So they're not that expensive. You can use them over and over and over again. So the cost is pretty ineffective. The only thing that I have that I would be very cautious of using them is they probably work really great on a flat surface. So if you had, and I've seen most of these like on short course trucks or drag cars or anything that's got a bigger area, because you can lay the material flat on it. And it doesn't have many curves to it. So when you start curving it around the arches of maybe a roof of a buggy or something, it's not going to lay as flat onto the Lexan to give you that really crisp design. The nice thing too is maybe that's the design you're looking for. You don't want something that's really crisp and sharp. You want something that's kind of faded. So it may work for you. The only other thing that I would be cautious of too is when you're using these, they lay flat, but they don't adhere to anything. So when you're putting it down on the surface in your spraying, you'll have to try to hold this with your thumb, or sometimes I've seen people that use a piece of tape in the corner to hold it down, which you can do. They've even got the little really strong magnets where you could possibly hold it down with magnets also. But the thing you want to worry about is when you're spraying down on it to try to spray straight down on it. If you go in at an angle, you risk the chance of the air getting under this material, and then what it's going to do is going to kind of flap and flutter on you. So it's not going to give you that really crisp design. So turn the air down on it and shoot more directly down on it to get that crisp angle. If you're going to use these, I would urge you to put it on something and practice with it. Try either a piece of glass, a spare body. You can use it on the outside of something also. Don't have to necessarily be on the inside, just to kind of practice to see how hard it is to hold this material and how hard to keep it from flexing and, like I said, fluttering on you where that paint's going to get underneath the stencil. So, but it's a pretty cool tool. I think some of the nicer ones that I've seen that's out there, there's a lot of good detail on them. Just find a way to hold them on down and put them in the area that you want. So these things add a lot of character to a body. So pretty cool. These are by Biddy Design. I'll capture the link and put it in the video also, so you'll have it. The material that I use, I'm going to start using a little bit more of it. I had these made for me. Something that's pretty good on a Cricut machine. It's called friscocraft.com, and I'm not sure if that's the company that sells the material or that's the type of material that it is, but when I do find out, I'll be doing more videos on a demonstration on how to do these. I'll put the link in it. But this one here is going to be some hexes that we do in this particular paint job. So the way these work is you have a Cricut machine where you have a program where you put them on and it cuts it on out, and there's so many different gazillion types of these templates that you can use. This particular one that we're using that I like a lot, it's a hex pattern, kind of like a honeycomb or a honey beehive, whatever you want to call it. And it's very thin. I kind of like more of the thinner web look to it instead of the bigger, thicker hexes. So once again, it's all in what you prefer, what you want the paint job to look like. And there's a lot of different ways to apply these and use them when you're painting them. So this particular material, and I'll kind of peel back a corner for you and just kind of show you. It's an adhesive material, but it's not super, super sticky. So it works out really good for what we're doing, because if you're putting it over the top of more liquid mask or something else on it, you're not going to have to worry about it peeling up all of your liquid mask as you go. These hexes, if you can kind of see, and I'll pull it off, it's all little thin cuts that are inside of it. And what you'll have to do is, in order to get the hex pattern out, all these little bitty individual pieces will have to be pulled out. Okay, kind of tricky to first initially get it all pulled out, but you have to kind of work at it. And I just kind of work my way around it, and you pull it up as you go. Okay, and sometimes it's kind of tricky, because a lot of times what it'll do is it'll leave part of the hexes, and the other part of it, it will pull off. So you can kind of see it pull off most of the inside of the hexes. So this is the type of material. It's really thin. And what you'll do is you'll go back and you'll just kind of, with your hand, just pull all the little bitty loose pieces out of it until you get them all cleared out. Okay. Really flexible, really thin. Be cautious when you're using it. You don't want to stick it to itself. When it does, you pull it back, and these are such really thin cuts that you risk the chance on tearing some of those honeycombs. So you kind of want to leave it as close of a pattern as you can. I'll show you one that I've got all. Here's one that's completely cleaned out, and you can kind of see, hopefully on the video you'll catch it, where it's really like a nice cool web pattern. Okay, not super sticky, but it'll hold. The thing that's nice is if you spray it correctly and you use it right, I'm probably going to try to get all 5 of these bodies done with just this one little piece. It may take a second, but over time what will happen is, if you start spraying the paint really thick on it, the paint will want to build up. So when you go to pull it off, you may risk the chance on leaving a little bit of residue and such on it. So the way that I like to do it, and I like a more of a hidden, kind of like a ghost hex, you're just lightly dusting it. So as soon as the paint hits, it's almost dry. You're not really having a lot of buildup on it at all. So I'll kind of show you how I do it, but keep in mind, it's all on the look that you want. Some people like having the really dark hexes inside of it, where it's very bold and you can see it from quite a ways away. Me, I'm kind of like the opposite. I like to have it hidden inside the paint, so you don't really see it until you walk up on it. And it definitely gives the body a lot more character and a lot more look to it. So when you're putting these hexes on, there's no really wrong way to do it. You really just kind of, however you feel and who you want the paint job to look. So I'll kind of put it on the inside of one of these and show you. So we'll do it on the side. The nice thing is, this material here is a lot more flexible. So you can curve it around all of the edges and all the flat spots, and it's tacky. So when you go to pull it off, it'll come off relatively easy. But the nice thing about it is, it's not super sticky to where you're going to tear it or you're going to have a hard time pulling it off to reuse it. So you can adjust these at different angles, different patterns. Some people like them straight, some people like them random. Once again, it's all in how you want the look of the body to use it. So these here, like I mentioned, you can use them over and over. The only thing that I would caution you on doing these is try to keep them away from heat or a hair dryer, because what it is, material is so thin to begin with, is as soon as you put heat to it, it's going to want to curl up and it's going to want to shrink on you, and then at that point you're basically done with it. You have to pitch it. So don't use a hair dryer around this material unless you're totally done with it. You don't want to use it. So in this particular paint job, we take and we hide it kind of like back behind all these different spikes that we've got here. So I'll kind of come back and just randomly place them. We don't do the whole body in this particular paint job. We just kind of do the back designs on it to add a little bit of character to it. So like I mentioned, you can do the whole thing if you want. You can do just smaller portions. You can even just hide them in certain areas to see them. It's all in the paint job and however you want it to look. So there's no wrong way to do it. It's just kind of however you feel like you want to do it. So this material, you can get it and get cut in bigger pieces. So if you're doing on-road bodies, you can have it made like that. There's a ton of different schemes out there. You can take these hexes and you can stretch them and length them out. You can use dots. You can use all different types of patterns out there to add kind of a little different texture to your body. So what I'll do is I'll start and I'll kind of do some of the hex pattern inside of this body. I'll paint it and I'll come back and I'll show you as we move on throughout the process of what it's going to look like. So hang tight, I'll be right back. So here we are kind of in the process of putting the hexes inside of it. And what I'm doing is I'm putting it in the very back portion that's obviously clear. And the color that I'm using is a pearl silver. Okay, so the ultimate backing that we're going to put on it is black, so it's going to look more like a black or a charcoal once it's shooting through that silver. So we've kind of got the hexes that'll be hidden in the back of it. It's really cool when it's done. It's a really great look to it. So what I want to show you is how I've been applying the hex pattern template on there. And I don't know if you can see it or not. It may be kind of tricky. I very lightly dusted the hexes in there with that silver. Okay. In my opinion, less is more in this. And by that what I mean is, when you're looking at it, it doesn't look like there's hardly any silver on it at all, and you have to kind of strain to see that hex pattern. But trust me, when you put the black in behind it, that pattern is going to show up perfectly. So it's very easy to go overboard and put too much silver on this at one time. So just do a lightly dusting, and you'll get better at the more you practice of how dark that you want to go with it. It's also going to depend on the colors that you're using too. So you could use a dark blue backing, and you could come back in and dust this light blue hexes in there. And once again, that's all personal preference of how you want that to look when it's done. So what I've done is I've already done half of this. The thing that's nice about this stuff that I'd mentioned is it's self-adhesive, so it's really kind of sticky, and you don't have to push down heavy on it. Okay, I've kind of got it draped around one of the edges here. And what I do is I'll come on in and I'll spray this, and I'll take it and I'll move it to get the whole body done, the whole pattern where I want it. But the biggest thing that I want to talk about too and show you is when you're spraying the silver on this, I always call it shoot it downwind. Okay, my people say, well, what does downwind mean? Well, what it means is when you're spraying the paint, I spray it at an angle like this. Okay, what it does is it's going to take any type of overspray that I have, and it's going to shoot it off towards the painted part of the body. Then it doesn't matter if you get overspray or not, because you're not going to see it anyhow. If you were to take this backwards and reverse it and spray this way, any little bit of silver paint that you have that oversprays, it's going right back into this area that's clear. Now you put the black on it, that silver is going to show everywhere on it. So when I say shoot downwind, you're going to take and you're going to shoot the direction of the air and the paint coming out of the gun to where it's going to go to the already painted area of the body. Okay, what it does, and I'll show you more, and you'll notice that when I get the black put on the back of it, is if you're shooting this way, you're going to catch every one of these hexes. Okay, and you can kind of see this pattern here. I've ran out of hexes at the end, but what I do is I actually stop my hex in the spraying back up inside of it, so I don't carry it way back in the back. This particular one, I just kind of hide them in between the spikes. Okay, so I turn around, and when you're spraying it, the spray and the paint is just starting to fade and clip the incoming edges of this, and it doesn't give you that direct ending point of that hex. Okay, when I get the black put on it, I'll come back and I'll show it to you, and it makes a little bit more sense once it's painted. But if you start painting it from the other way, you have that overspray you have to be careful of, and then you also have the look that you're going to end up with in that ultimate ending hex pattern that I don't typically do on it. So I'll keep shooting a little bit more, and I'll be right back, and we'll show you when it's done. All right, so here is the finished product that we've got. Like I mentioned, we had used the black for the back of the color behind the silver. As you can kind of see, it definitely pops out with the silver. If you used any more silver in with it, it would have been a pretty solid color and a lot more bold, I guess you would call it. So the look that I kind of look for is something where you're going to notice the color, but you're going to notice it more if you're a couple feet up on it versus 5 or 10 feet away on the track. So you can kind of hopefully get a little bit of a look here on how the colors, you can kind of see where it fades on in. And what I like to do is I like to have it to where it's more solid, more silver hexes up front, and then it basically vanishes as it goes back towards the rear. So remember I was talking about how to where you'll spray it downwind. That's going to kind of give it that effect that you're going to look at to where it's going to kind of disappear on you, and it won't be showing up as bold. Kind of get a little bit of a side glimpse there also. Kind of see how it's kind of transparent, kind of hidden. But it definitely adds a lot to it. And like I said, there's really no wrong way to do it. It's all kind of depends on the look that you want with it. You know, some like it more of a solid look, some more like it, you know, kind of vanishing like this and disappearing. The thing that I also like doing too is I do kind of like a section at a time, and I'm taking and I'm moving those hex templates all the time, because I also don't want it to look like you're just taking one piece and draping it over the whole side of the car and painting it, because then what it'll look like is a kind of like a flag look. I kind of like the randomness of the hexes and how they're all laid out on the body. So hopefully that'll help you out and kind of show you a little bit of some different things that you can do. I'll probably be doing some more dots and some different patterns also. And I'll do a quick video on those when we get to them to do it. So hopefully that'll help you out. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to send me a message. I'll get back to them eventually to you. Remember to also like and subscribe to both my Facebook page and the YouTube page. So, all right, catch you on the next one. Thanks.